Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Today, voting for chaos, the Memefield mayoral race unplugged.
Chalmers, the day has finally arrived. The Memefield mayoral election. I've been waiting for this moment for so long. A chance for real change. Or, a chance for total chaos. Either way, it's bound to be hilarious.
Oh, absolutely. It's Memefield. Chaos is practically in the job description. I mean, just look at the candidates. We've got an ArticTiger who can't stay out of scandal, a historical figure with questionable methods, a literal goat who declared himself mayor without a single vote, and Dezenzo.
Oh, Dezenzo, our producer, right? The guy who showed up at the last minute, acting like he's been part of the game the whole time. What's his story again? Cheap internet?
Yeah, the man has a serious love affair with AI. Claims the internet should be a Grundrecht, like a human right. He probably wants every citizen in Memefield hooked up to a supercomputer downloading memes at light speed. It's almost admirable, but also a little concerning. Do we really need AI running this place? I feel like the memes might lose their natural chaotic charm.
Exactly. Can you imagine a generated Memefield? We'd be drowning in algorithmic funny cat video number 4567 without any real heart behind it. AI's great and all, but it's got no sense of humor, no soul.
I can just picture it, Dezenzo sitting in the mayor's office, surrounded by servers furiously typing away while an army of bots churns out memes that are technically perfect but completely devoid of the human experience.
No thanks. The randomness is what makes Memefield great. The candidate lineup we have right now is proof of that. I mean, how else do you explain Van Goat?
Van Goat? Oh, don't get me started. This goat just waltzed into town, declared ArticTiger dead, and before anyone knew it, they had taken the reins of power, literally and figuratively. They got more ambition than half the candidates, and they is a goat. I respect that hustle.
Yeah, you can't fault the goat's ambition. It's just, do we really want a mayor whose main campaign platform is building goat-friendly parks and giving out free grass or lower the salt taxes in town? I mean, sure, it'll be a dream for the local goats, but what about the rest of us?
Oh, right. Free grass for all. Honestly, I'd love to see that plan in action. Just imagine. City Hall overrun with goats. Forget about zoning laws, it'd be all about grazing rights. The whole town would smell like a goat farm.
Maybe that's what Memefield needs. A little earthy aroma. Keep everyone on their toes, or hooves. But seriously, Van Goat is hilarious, but can they lead? Or is this just a temporary farmyard coup?
Good question. I mean, they is passionate, no doubt about that. But can they handle the pressures of public office? Or will they just chew through the red tape, literally?
If anyone could do it, it's the goat. Now, let's not forget our dear ArticTiger. He's clawed his way through scandal after scandal after scandal and is still standing. You've got to admire his resilience. But man, that privacy scandal nearly took him down.
The one where he secretly filmed the poor birds while eating without asking for permission, just when you thought he had it all under control. Boom! Privacy leaks, surveillance accusations, the works. And then there was that whole reported dead incident. Imagine thinking your mayor had passed away, only to find out it was all a massive misunderstanding.
Yeah, and Van Goat was already sitting in the mayor's chair, acting like he'd been there all along. I think ArticTiger got a real shock when he came back from the dead. But hey, he's still here, and now he's pushing hard for Echo to get a house in Memefield. That's some dedication, right?
You have to give him credit. Fighting for Echo's residency is a smart move. She's popular, and if she settles here, you'll be the mayor who made it happen. A hero, but provided he keeps the rest of his, not pet, skeletons locked away and avoids another accidental death.
Exactly. Echo in Memefield would definitely boost his approval ratings. But I can't shake the feeling that it's all a bit. How do I put this? Fanservice-y? Like, he's pandering to the Overwatch crowd, trying to win votes with flashy promises rather than substance.
Oh, 100. It's classic political theater. But hey, that's politics, right? You make a big promise, wrap it in some glitter, and hope no one notices the pile of issues behind you. At least ArticTiger's scandals are entertaining. I mean, we can't say we've been bored.
True, but now we've got to talk about John Wilkes Booth. The man's a walking drama. I half expect him to show up in town square wearing a full costume and delivering a soliloquy about how he's going to reform Memefield.
Oh, you know he would. Booth isn't just running for mayor, he's auditioning for the role of a lifetime. I've never seen someone so committed to turning politics into a full-blown theatrical production. The manly laughing, the man can't make a speech without tossing in at least one dramatic pause.
It's impressive, honestly. But is Memefield ready for someone that intense? I mean, his whole platform is based on elevating our meme culture to artistic heights. I don't know about you, but I like my memes a little rough around the edges. Polished memes feel wrong.
Totally agree. Booth wants to turn memes into a highbrow art form, and I'm not sure that's what Memefield need. Imagine going to a meme festival and finding out everything's been curated by a bunch of serious critics, sipping wine and debating the deeper meaning of a cat in a hat.
That's exactly what we get. Booth's idea of memetic reform sounds like turning the entire town into one giant, pretentious art gallery. I'm all for improving the quality of memes, but let's not lose the spirit of chaos that makes them great.
And then there's the whole thing with Booth's complicated past. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. He's got a history. He's trying to redeem himself with this mayoral run, but is Memefield ready to embrace that kind of dramatic, controversial figure?
Honestly, I don't know. His past could either make him the ultimate redemption story or drag him down into a spiral of more controversy. Memefield a place where you can reinvent yourself, sure, but there are limits, right? At some point, the people might just say, enough drama, boo.
Exactly. And then, of course, we have Dezenz, or Dezenzo, as everyone calls him, for reasons even he doesn't seem to care about.
That's one of the funniest things about him. He's like, yeah, whatever, call me Dezenzo. You'd think a guy running on an internet platform would care about branding, but nope. He's just rolling with it. Gotta respect that kind of nonchalance.
He's definitely unique. But his whole, the internet is a basic human right campaign has gotten people talking. Memefield with cheap universal internet. That could be game-changing.
Sure. Faster downloads, cheaper memes, and the freedom to upload your most chaotic content at light speed. But I can't help thinking, what's the catch? Are we all going to be governed by AI overlords by the end of Dezenzo's term? Or will he introduce responsible guidelines for platforms that prohibit hate speech and actually flag numerous fake news stories in a meaningful way and prevent manipulation? How boring would a reasonable internet be?
Probably. Knowing him, he'd hand the reins over to a super-intelligent AI the moment he takes office. We'd be ruled by an algorithm that knows exactly when and where to drop the perfect meme. It sounds awesome and terrifying at the same time.
Exactly. On one hand, we'd have memes of unparalleled quality. On the other, I'm not sure I trust an AI to understand the nuances of Memefield's humor. Can a machine really appreciate the beauty of a well-timed, completely random SpongeBob meme?
That's the question, isn't it? Can technology truly replicate the soul of our beloved memes? Dezenzo seems to think so, but I'm skeptical still. If it means cheaper internet, I might be willing to give it a shot.
I guess we'll find out soon enough. But wow. What a lineup we have this year. Tiger, historical figure, Goat, the tech-obsessed visionary, and Master Chief. Poor Master Chief, hardly worth mentioning at this point. He's got, 3 votes?
If that, I think his entire campaign team consists of himself and Cortana. It's not even that people hate him. It's just that no one cares. I guess running a town is a little different from running military operations in deep space.
Yeah. Turns out defending Earth from alien invasions doesn't exactly translate to managing zoning laws and budgeting for city infrastructure. Oh no.
You'd think he'd be a shoo. In for security reform, though. But alas, the people of Memefield have spoken, and they want more memes, fewer Spartan helmets.
Now, if we're really gonna break it down, who do you think's gonna get the most votes? I mean, you got the hard ArticTiger fans, right? They're not going anywhere, even with all the scandals. Memefield residents love a good comeback story.
Oh, absolutely. ArticTiger's fans are like the definition of loyal. They're the kind of people who don't care about a few privacy leaks here and there. To them, that's just the price of leadership. Plus, let's be real, Memefield has a bit of a rebellious streak. If the establishment gets too uptight about the scandals, the voters might just rally harder behind him if only to send a message.
Exactly. The whole "I'm not dead" surprise thing probably boosted his image too. It's kind of poetic, you know, like a meme version of the Phoenix. Or more appropriately, like a meme that's reposted and somehow becomes even more popular than the original.
Reposted tiger, indeed. But here's the thing. ArticTiger's only gonna pull so much weight with his core voters. If he's gonna win, he needs to swing the undecideds, and I'm not sure Echo's potential residency is enough. Sure, the Overwatch crowd is excited, but Memefield's got a lot more than just gamers. There's the GOAT faction, for one thing.
The GOAT faction. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Van Goat starts gaining traction with the environmentalists. The guy, or, the GOAT, has a surprisingly solid base. I mean, free grass, goat parks, it's a pretty niche platform, but niche is powerful in Memefield. Plus, they has been very vocal about reducing urban sprawl and protecting green spaces.
Yeah, you've got a point there. People love to get behind a weird but oddly sensible candidate, especially if they're advocating for something that feels a little bit different. Van Goat's campaign has this strange grassroots appeal. Literally. And let's not forget the guy, Goat, declared themselves mayor. It's bold. If you don't respect anything else, you got to respect that confidence.
Oh, totally. And think about the sheer meme ability of it all. We're talking about a goat that could potentially run the town. The internet would explode. Memefield would be on the map. The kind of place where people would move just to say, yeah, I live in the town that's run by a goat. A salt-loving, mischievous goat.
That could actually win them some votes. People who just want to see what happens. I mean, let's be honest. How many of us are genuinely curious about what a goat-led government would look like? And hey, if Van Goat and ArticTiger went head-to-head in the council, it would be wild. You think they'd team up, though? Like coalition. Wise.
A tiger and a goat coalition. Now, that's a ticket I'd love to see. I mean, they're both kind of out there, right? One's a tiger with a scandalous past. The other's a goat who thinks free grass will solve all of Memefield's problem. But together, I don't know, man. It could be either a beautiful disaster or the weirdest success story in political history.
I can see it now. Van Goat focuses on environmental issues, green spaces, and goats, while ArticTiger takes care of the flashier stuff, you know, throwing parties, securing Echo a house, handling all the attention, seeking stunts. They might even complement each other in some bizarre way.
That's the thing with Memefield. Anything is possible. But let's not forget about John Wilkes Booth. As much as his dramatics are a bit over the top, the guy's got a solid base too. He's appealing to the meme purists, the folks who think Memefield needs some artistic dignity.
Oh yeah, the memetic renaissance crowd. They're like, we're not here for the chaos. We're here for the art of it all. Booth's trying to elevate memes, which, honestly, I don't think Memefield is ready for. People love their chaos too much to let someone come in and say, no, this meme needs refinement.
Refinement? Booth is out here treating memes like fine wine when Memefield's more of a chugging a cheap beer kind of place. But hey, there's a part of the population that resonates with that. They see Booth as this tragic, misunderstood figure who's here to bring some class to the town. I think he's got a shot with the more, let's say, cultured meme lovers.
Yeah, the ones who think Fape the Frog should be hung in the Louvre. They'll vote for Booth. No question. But he's not winning over the broader population unless he manages to pull off some kind of miraculous meme art crossover that even the goats can appreciate.
I wonder what Van Goat thinks of Booth. Do goats in vans appreciate high art? Or are they more into abstract, interpretive stuff, like chewing on a cardboard box and calling it performance art?
I don't think Booth and Van Goat are having many strategy meetings, honestly. I can't picture those two in the same room without it devolving into Booth reciting Shakespeare, while Van Goat tries to eat the campaign notes.
And that's probably for the best, but here's the thing. If Booth can grab enough of the intellectual meme vote and maybe pull in some fringe voters, he could still shake things up. He's not mainstream, but Memefield is weird enough that a wild card like him could surprise us all.
True, and Memefield's nothing if not unpredictable. That's what makes these elections so hard to call. One day, everyone's laughing at Van Goat, and the next thing you know, they're rallying behind him because they like the idea of grazing rights and low-salt taxes. And let's not forget Dezenzo. His last-minute campaign is causing some ripples.
Oh, Dezenzo's definitely shaking things up. People are still figuring him out, but his message is catching on fast. Especially the whole internet as a human right thing. If he manages to push that hard enough, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the younger voters start flocking to him.
Yeah, I can see it now. I can see it now, vote Dezenzo, because buffering is a crime. I mean, who doesn't want faster internet for less money? Yeah, it's a pretty universal appeal. And if he's serious about AI taking over some of the town's infrastructure, he might actually win over the tech-savvy crowd.
But there's the catch, right? People might want cheaper internet, but how many are ready to let AI take over the day-to-day operations of Memefield? It's a double-edged sword.
Do you really want a bot deciding what memes you see on the town's official page?
That's a terrifying thought. Imagine the town's meme feed being curated by an algorithm. No more random, chaotic brilliance. Just perfectly optimized content tailored to make you laugh at precisely 8:17 p.m. every night. I don't know about you, but that takes some of the magic out of it.
Exactly. Memefield thrives on spontaneity, not predictability. Dezenzo's IE vision might make life easier, but it could also take away the soul of this place. I'm all for innovation, but maybe Memefield needs more chaos, not less.
And that's where Dezenzo might lose some votes. Besides, he's just a biologist and economist with a teaching degree who loves AI stuff. Not particularly exciting for the gossip people. Memefieldians here like their chaos. They don't want a perfectly efficient meme town. They want something unpredictable, wild, and weird. And honestly, I'm not sure if Dezenzo gets that.
But do you think Dezenzo could form a coalition with someone like Van Goat? I mean, goats are pretty low-tech, right? What if they combine forces? Governing efficiency in goats, keeping it rustic?
Now that would be a sight to see. Van Goat making decisions based on pure instinct and Dezenzo running everything through a neural network. I can just see the town hall meetings. Dezenzo explaining his data-driven policies while Van Goat eats the PowerPoint slides. It'd be chaos, but hey, maybe that's the kind of balance Memefield needs.
Yeah, I could see that working. Dezenzo handles the tech. Van Goat ensures the goats are happy, and together they make sure everyone gets their memes at lightning speed with just the right amount of predictability. It'd be like running Memefield through a randomizer.
Memefield. Now with 100 more chaos and 50s faster downloads. You know, the more I think about it, the more that combination actually sounds kind of brilliant. A Tiger-Goat alliance might be far-fetched, but the Dezenzo Goat team, that's something I could get behind.
It's definitely better than Booth and Master Chief teaming up. What would that even look like? Dramatic soliloquies while Master Chief stands silently in the corner with a gun?
The most intense but awkward campaign rallies ever. Booth reciting Shakespeare's greatest hits while Master Chief polishes his helmet. The voters would be utterly confused.
And that, my friend, is how you lose an election in Memefield. You've got to give the people what they want. Chaos, goats, faster internet, and maybe a few memorable moments along the way.
So true. But you know, whatever happens, this election is going to be one for the history books. I can't wait to see who pulls ahead and what kind of mayor Memefield ends up with. Speaking of it, I remember you wanted to add a specific part to our today's episode, right, Skinny?
Oh, we've got to talk about the chats we had with the candidates. I mean, seeing them on stage is one thing, but sitting down with them, that was a whole different experience. Let's start with ArticTiger, shall we?
Oh, ArticTiger, the man, the myth, the tiger. You know, I was fully expecting him to be all bravado, constantly flexing his I'm not dead narrative, but honestly, he's surprisingly mellow in person. Dare I say, soft?
Right. It was like talking to a slightly older house cat who's seen too much and is now just vibing. He kept offering me tea. I thought we were there to talk policy, but instead I ended up sipping some weird herbal blend that was supposed to calm my nerves from the daily stress.
He's like a motivational poster with a scandalous past. You know, I half expected him to try and sell me a self-help book titled How to Survive a Scandal and Still Be Mayor.
Step 1. Don't die even when people think you did. But seriously, the guy is zen in a way I didn't expect. Like, sure, he's got this whole king of the jungle vibe in public, but behind closed doors, he's all about inner peace, meditation, and apparently really passionate about feng shui. I mean, we've known him for a while. We're just referring to our meme episode.
But yes, he has even have his own shrine to himself in the living room.
Very down to earth.
Oh, and don't get me started on the feng shui. He spent 20 minutes explaining how the positioning of my chair during our interview would either help or hinder my Happy Home Academy rating in Animal Crossing. I don't even know what my current Happy Home Academy rating is, Skinner. But apparently it was in danger the whole time.
Well, he's not exactly your typical politician. Well, let's be honest, I kind of get it. After everything he's been through, maybe the guy just wants to center himself before Memefield throws more chaos his way. But between you and me, if the guy spent less time worrying about his Happy Home Academy rating and more time worrying about the internet infrastructure, we might be getting somewhere.
That's true. But hey, speaking of internet, our chat with Dezenzo, that was something else. The guy's got energy. Big tech bro vibes, but in a way that's kind of endearing. Like a puppy that keeps knocking things over but has no idea it's doing anything wrong.
Oh yeah, Dezenzo's like, have you guys tried turning Memefield off and on again? I got this, hey, that'll fix everything. Just give me the town's Wi-Fi password and we'll be up and running in no time. He's like the kid who got into computers early and never looked back, even if he doesn't have any programming skills at all. Just a guy who loves trying out tech stuff.
Yeah, and he kept mentioning the cloud as if it's this magical entity that's going to save us all. I'm still not convinced he doesn't worship it. The cloud will take care of Memefield's problems, he said. And I'm not talking about our cumulus. Sure, Dezenzo, but what happens when it rains? Do our memes get soggy?
You know, I wouldn't put it past him to try and install an AE chatbot as mayor if he had the chance. Honestly, I got the feeling that he's more comfortable talking to servers than actual people. Like, the whole time we were talking, he kept glancing at his smartwatch like he was getting updates on the conversation.
He probably was. Reminder, maintain eye contact for 2.5 seconds. But you know, for all his tech obsession, he's got a point about the internet being a human, right? I mean, the town could use a serious Wi-Fi upgrade. It's just, do we really want someone who talks about Wi-Fi protected access 3 in every other sentence running the place?
Exactly. At one point, he was explaining how Memefield could be the first town to adopt a fully decentralized meme economy. And I just nodded along because I had no idea what he was saying. Decentralized memes. Are they on strike? Are we going to have to negotiate with GIFs?
I mean, I'd love to see Dezenzo try to unionize memes. It'd be chaos, but maybe that's what Memefield needs. Still, I don't think the goats are ready for A-overlords. Which brings us to Van Goat. Now, that was an interesting conversation.
Oh, Van Goat. I have to say they were serene. Is that the word? Just calm. You know how most politicians are all talk and big promises. Not Van Goat. They just stood there munching on a tin can and occasionally nodding. It was oddly reassuring. Not to mention the fact that this little rascal keeps breaking into my kitchen or parking his van in front of my house.
Right? I mean, they didn't say much, but you could just feel the wisdom emanating from them. It's like Van Goat speaks through actions. Like that time they headbutted a podium during a speech. It wasn't violent. It was symbolic, I think.
Oh, yeah, the headbutt her around Memefield. They don't need words, Chalmers. That's their charm. You want decisive action? Van Goat's your candidate. They'll just walk into town hall, chew up the paperwork, and somehow the problem's solved.
You've got a point. They've got this whole I don't care about bureaucracy vibe going, and it works. No nonsense, just grass. And tin cans, apparently. But here's what got me. Van Goat is surprisingly well read. They've got a library of books in their barn. I saw them flipping through Aristotle at one point. It didn't even need a bookmark.
No kidding. I mean, they've got the whole philosopher goat thing going for them. They may not say much, but when they do, it's usually profound. I asked them how they'd solve the town's traffic problem, and they just stared at me, slowly chewing. And you know what? In that moment, I realized, maybe we don't need cars. Maybe we all just need to graze.
Van Goat, reducing our carbon footprint one munch at a time, honestly. They got this Zen master quality that ArticTiger thinks he has but doesn't quite pull off. Van Goat just is. They don't need to meditate or light incense. They're already enlightened.
Yeah, they're just effortlessly wise.
I do wonder what they think about Dezenzo's whole layout. Are they ready to embrace the future, or are they just going to stand in front of Town Hall, chewing on some fiber optics?
Honestly, I think they'd find a way to coexist. Van Gogh's all about balance. They don't resist change, they just adapt. Plus, goats have been around for millennia. I wouldn't be surprised if they've already outlasted several civilizations and are just watching us make the same mistake.
Oh man, that's deep. Maybe Van Gogh's playing the long game, just quietly watching while the rest of us scramble around with our Wi-Fi problems and traffic jams. They'll still be there, chewing their way through town council minutes.
Meanwhile, John Wilkes Booth is over there, probably rehearsing his acceptance speech in front of a mirror.
Oh, Booth! I swear that man's got more drama in his pinky finger than the entire Memefield City Council. Talking to him was like attending an off-Broadway one-man show. Everything's a performance. He doesn't just talk, he delivers.
He really does. I mean, he made asking for a glass of water sound like he was declaring war on dehydration. I shall have it. Not because I am thirsty, but because it is my right as a human being to drink from the chalice of life.
Exactly. And don't even get me started on how he described his vision for Memefield. A town reborn, risen from the ashes of its chaotic meme history, to stand tall as a bastion of intellectualism and artistry. I think he forgot we were talking about a town where people once voted for a literal chair.
Yeah, I'm not sure Memefield's ready for that kind of renaissance. Booth's great if you want someone to monologue for you, but running a town, I don't know if his high art approach is going to resonate with people who just want to see more goat parks.
Or more reliable Wi-Fi. Honestly, Booth's campaign is a bit like an experimental film. Some people will love it, but most will just sit there confused, wondering what they just watched. He's all passion and poetry, but Memefield, they want memes and mayhem.
That's what I'm saying. Memefield's a chaotic place, and you've got to roll with that. You can't overthink it, which is probably why Booth and Master Chief's coalition, if you can even call it that, isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, Booth and Master Chief are like two people who showed up to a costume party, but no one told them it wasn't actually Halloween. It's bizarre and I love it, but it's not mayoral material.
For all his flaws, I can't help but admire Booth's conviction. He's passionate, I'll give him that. But sometimes passion isn't enough. Memefield's not a theater stage. It's a town full of eccentric characters, and you've got to be able to relate to them. I don't think Booth's ready to give up his starring role for a supporting part.
That's true. Memefield needs someone who can handle the everyday chaos, not just deliver soliloquies in the town square. Well, I've got to say, after all the roasting we've given these candidates, I genuinely wish them all the best in the election. Memefield's in for a ride, no matter who takes the mayor's office.
Oh, absolutely. And look, we might have exaggerated their quirks just a tiny bit, but that's what makes them memorable, right? I mean, would people really prefer we sit here and give dry, detailed policy breakdowns? Nah, give me some drama, some goats, and a bit of tech bro jargon any day.
Exactly. I mean, if I didn't poke fun at ArticTiger's meditation circles or Van Gogh's philosophical headbutts, I wouldn't be doing my job. But in all seriousness, these candidates are stepping up to take on something big. Running a town isn't easy, especially when that town is, well,
it's like herding cats, or in Van Gogh's case, herding themselves. But that's what makes democracy fun, right? The people get to choose who they want to represent their chaotic, meme-loving interests. Whether you're Team Dezenzo and his AI dreamland, or Team ArticTiger and his quest to feng shui the entire town, the important thing is that you vote.
That's right. We've joked around, but at the end of the day, the power's in your hands, Memefield. If you don't show up to vote, someone else is going to make the decisions for you. And as we always say, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Exactly. You don't have to be all in on one candidate or another, but your voice matters. If you're sitting there thinking, hey, I'll just skip this one, just remember that's exactly how you end up with Master Chief accidentally winning.
Can you imagine? We'd all be stuck in an eternal loading screen. So please, take a few minutes, cast your vote, and let's make sure Memefield stays as weird and wonderful as ever. We've got an eclectic bunch running for mayor, And that's part of what makes this town great.
And hey, even if your candidate doesn't win, at least you participated. Plus, you'll get to complain about the winner, which is half the fun of elections anyway.
Well, yeah, nothing like a good "I told you so" in the town square. But seriously, Memefield, make your voices heard. If you don't vote, you don't get to yell at the city council meetings later. It's democracy 101.
Exactly. And we all know how much we love yelling at city council meetings. I mean, what else are you going to do on a Tuesday night?
Right? And hey, just remember, whatever happens, we've got Van Gogh, ArticTiger, Dezenzo, and Booth somewhere out there, all ready to serve this town in their own unique ways.
Whether it's through a headbutt, a server upgrade, or a dramatic monologue, they're all in this for Memefield, so we've got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, they've all got their hearts, or, philosophical tin cans in the right place. We'll see how the votes shake out, but I have a feeling Memefield's going to be in for a wild ride no matter who wins.
And before we wrap things up, we have to give a quick shout-out to Van Gogh. Thanks for bringing over that cake the other day. It was interesting.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what it was made of, but it definitely had some grass in there. Maybe even some tinfoil. But hey, it's the thought that counts, right?
Oh, absolutely. Very thoughtful. Just next time, maybe less fiber. My teeth are still recovering.
Agreed. But seriously, thanks to all the candidates for making this election an exciting one. And thanks to you, Memefield, for sticking with us through all the chaos. Go out there and vote.
That's right. We'll see you all on the other side of the election, hopefully with our teeth still intact.
And with fewer tin cans in our cake, please.
Definitely. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Catch you next time.
Take care, Memefield. And don't forget to vote. Unless you want booth riding speeches for the next 4 years.
Oh, the horror.